Over the course of this last year, a lot of my free time was spent watching, reviewing, and rewatching a lot of new and old films. During my movie marathons, I couldn't help but notice the progressiveness of CGI technologies and its influence on our drive into the digital world. Accessibility to these technologies have allowed us to seamlessly merge images into film, even when they aren't there during filming. In fact, they aren't even needed on the set. The computer-generated images not only enhance, but create worlds that are perceptually realistic, even in instances where it seems physically impossible. Film's incorporation of CGI has become more common as the necessary technology has gotten cheaper and more easily accessible. While it has provided new tools for the creator of the film, it has also heavily impacted the relationship between the spectator and the image. Built around the cinema of attractions, Tom Gunning details the spectator's fascination with the image, referencing the French genre of trompe-l'œil. Pardon my French, clearly not my first language. Gunning further explains the give and take of spectatorship. We, as an audience, understand that the image before us is just an image. However, it provides an objectively real experience. This visual experience draws spectators closer, making them want to touch and interact with the image, even with the understanding that it is merely just two-dimensional. This curiosity and lure and fascination that is integrated with early cinema of attractions continues to express itself in film today. CGI technology has allowed this curiosity to grow by introducing new aspects into film that we've never seen before. These new experiences draw us back into our seats, suspended in awe at the image before us. The perceptual realism laced throughout allows our eyes to accept the seemingly unrealistic image as we're unable to argue the perceptual mechanics expressed. By mimicking the lighting, movement, and depth of our world, we find ourselves agreeing and immersing into the images. Two of my personal favorite examples of this are Inception and Pan's Labyrinth. While Nolan prides himself on the use of practical effects, CGI is incorporated throughout to visually enhance his images. The dream sequences presented throughout this film use these digitally animated effects to solidify the disorientation of the world he builds. By adding CGI into his practical images, Nolan's able to grip his audience into this fascination of the bending world. One impressive sequence in this film is Limbo City. Limbo City required a lot of CGI work to ensure the falling buildings looked organic and natural. Now, while this is probably something we haven't experienced up close before, Nolan and his team were able to achieve a perceptual realism that didn't force his spectators into questioning. These specific scenes may have incorporated practical with visual effects, however, the extension of these technologies have allowed the same scenes to be created with just a green screen. Many Marvel movies are a great example of this. Doctor Strange specifically mimics the city bending sequences seen in Inception, but with green screen alone. Pan's Labyrinth also uses green screen to build its mystical world. A personal favorite of mine, this film uses digital creation to build the beautiful and kind of creepy world that Ophelia explores. While I feel this film can be an arguable example of bad CGI, the fact that it attempts to build a world we've never seen before pulls spectators in. Every time I talk about this movie, there have only been positive reactions. In fact, it continues to be some of my friends' personal favorites as well. I think a main reason for this is the narrative it is built around. CGI is only used to enhance this narrative rather than trying to impress the audience through mere imagery. While curiosity of the image is the driving force of the cinema of attractions, as spectator, we've grown towards a desire for narrative as well. Narrative lacked in the cinema of attractions, but has become one of the main supports for our interest and immersion in film today. When filmmakers gravitate towards extreme digitization or impressing the audience through images, it actually begins to draw spectators back. The lack of narrative allows spectators to overanalyze the image, forcing them into the recognition of terrible CGI. Or they just feel they aren't connecting with what they're watching. So it begs the question, how much CGI is too much? In the next few years, do you think our reliance will continue to grow, or will it only draw audiences back? As the future of filmmakers, that's for you to decide. Thank you, and I'll see you next time on Let's Talk About Film with Layla.